As Ryanair announced yesterday that it's ramping up operations ahead of the summer, announcing its largest ever flight schedule out of Dublin Airport, are people now chomping at the bit to get away? Our reporter Barry White has been asking these people on the streets of the capital.
At this point, with the boosters and everything, I think chance of infection is going to be at the lowest it can be by summer. So I think it's a good idea to fly, and also the people who don't care about vaccines and stuff like that, they're going to go on the flights anyways, so it's not really going to affect me.
When was the last time you were away somewhere?
August. And everything was fine.
Planning to go away this summer?
I actually plan to go away next month.
Yeah, where are you going?
Romania.
I personally wouldn't fly because I'd just be worried when I would be over there, I'd catch COVID and then I'd have to isolate there. But that would be the only thing stopping me flying right now. I did have plans to go away last week to go to London with my friend, but I ended up catching COVID and then I had to cancel the flights. But flights to Ryanair it's cheaper to bring your bag over than to go over yourself. So the flights were 50 quid, so it wasn't even a big deal to cancel. I had heart transplant, I'm immunosuppressed. So but I've had my booster. I feel pretty safe about it. I'd just be worried I'd get COVID over there and then I'd have to isolate, and I wouldn't be able to afford to isolate for 2 weeks there essentially.
No, essentially wouldn't really fly at the moment. Be too scared to get COVID, and I don't really know. I guess it's not that great that Ryanair is kind of benefiting from the whole COVID thing and selling more tickets, but because people do want to go away so much. I have plans to go to Amsterdam over the summer, but probably won't at this stage.
People on the streets of the capital talking to our reporter Barry White. For more on this and advice on booking your holiday, I'm joined by travel and aviation journalist Eoghan Corry. Eoghan, good morning.
Good morning, Pat.
Now, what's going on? Because we were told there'd be a shortage of seats and prices might be high, but Ryanair is putting a huge number of seats into Dublin Airport.
Huge number of seats. There's a couple of things going on there, Pat. They when people say, "Oh yeah, rush now, get your bookings in now," they're saying the aviation and travel industry are saying that because there has been a reluctance, a very great hesitancy about booking. That the sort of stuff that Barry White was picking up on the street is true to what the travel industry and the aviation industry are telling me. To give you an example, the lead-in for a Ryanair booking would be in 2019 about 6 weeks. The average when people decide they're going to book that flight, it's shrunk all the way back to about 2 weeks now. That makes it very difficult for an airline to plan its schedule, make decisions on what flight routes are viable. But what Ryanair have done and the way they responded in summer 2021 was pretty much guiding what they're doing this year, was they kept their pilots licensed and their aircraft certified by running virtually almost empty flights so that they wouldn't have to go through that logjam of recertification when people returned. And they'd increased market share right across Europe. They were by far the biggest airline in Europe in summer 2021 by seat numbers. They're going at it again this year. They haven't been making a profit. In fact, they've been making a loss. But they are doing what Ryanair do in every recession, using it as an opportunity to grow and get their market share up. So when they say, okay, the prices are going to be high in summer, there's no evidence of that yet. But the reason there's no evidence is that the bookings aren't coming in at the numbers that they would come, for instance, in January 2019. Traditionally January, 1/3 of the entire holidays for the year were sold. We're seeing nothing like that, but there's no doubt also there's a pent-up demand. A lot of people who have been sitting there doing less travel than they should have, or no travel at all for the last 2 years.
Now, if people do decide to book, the options of cancelling and postponing, not losing money if another pandemic arrives, another variant comes on the scene. What are the offerings from the airlines?
Varies from airline to airline, but there's no doubt there's a much more generous cancellation policy from major airlines than we would have seen before. The likes of Aer Lingus have a policy where once you've booked, you can keep pushing that booking out. The one thing to watch there, Pat, is really important, is you can't push a booking to New York for €199 to a flight that's now €400. You do have to pay the balance. but it's the old cancellation policies are no longer there. Ryanair have been doing it as well. They've been doing it monthly. They did it to November, the end of November, end of December, end of January, and the one thing we've seen a big increase in sales on is travel insurance. They to put it simply, you can't treat the airline as an insurer of last resort. So a lot of people, the sort of queries I've been getting have been, oh, I've got a positive test, the airline won't give me the money back. Travel insurance now covers that eventuality. It also covers the eventuality of having to stay abroad if you do get a positive test. Because remember, no matter what changes in the government regulations, you're not flying if you've got COVID symptoms. Every single check-in asks you that, and every single locator form asks you that and tells you not to travel. Obviously, we can't put airline staff, all of those people, in danger. So travel insurance is really important. It's going to be very important for this year. What I've seen is some of the major policies, for instance, multi-trip, including COVID as part of the general common or garden policy that you have for a year. Some of the other major ones do not, but VHI, for example, but it only costs about 18 or 20 euro extra. It's certainly worth doing. A lot of people taking it up. Another very interesting development, by the way, Pat, some destinations are so anxious to get the tourists back that they will ensure for all visitors, the COVID aspect of it. The Canary Islands did that, or even give you free travel insurance, complete travel insurance for your stay in the region. The Murcia region in the south of Spain near Alicante, they do that. So there's lots of tremendous options there for anybody who's now considering travelling again in summer 22. And the reason they're there is that every tourist boards, holiday companies, airlines are all really anxious to stimulate the market and overcome that hesitancy that Barry picked up there on his Vox Pop.
All right, so you're saying you don't necessarily have to go rushing in to book now, but inevitably as time moves on, if we are free of COVID, or relatively so, the prices will climb.
And this is really important. It's going to be within the European Union, because even though 80 countries around the world have now accepted the European Digital COVID Certificate, the big test in December when we had the Omicron variant was that European countries, the coherent travel policy that was put in July, it held its shape. So travelling within Europe, we're pretty much secure that nothing is going to dislodge that. But long haul is still a bit iffy. We saw what Thailand did in the last couple of weeks. We saw what Hong Kong did this week. And so people will be planning to go to the places they're familiar with, the safe places. And that means Spain and Portugal. 70% of us go there on holidays. If you wait and you wait and you wait, it's unlikely the prices will come down. What will happen is the options, those extra options, those little incentives might be withdrawn, and the booking policy mightn't be as generous. So there's no reason not to book now. I don't think we're going to do better. Look at the prices that are up there for those trunk routes into Malaga and Faro, places like that. Generally, very, very large numbers of flights every day, and prices available for July and August that you would not have seen at the end of January before COVID.
Very good. Eoghan Corry, thank you very much.
Always a great pleasure, Pat. Thank you very much.